Okay, welcome to another video with me. Iesha B. I am here with an unorthodox video. I was going to do a video with me like doing my getting ready, but I had to catch up on my shows. Sorry, it's my day off. I'm catching up on my shows and now I'm done. So first and foremost, I'm gonna tell you what we're talking about in a second. From the title, you already gonna know. First and foremost, I need you to go listen to my song. It's going to be linked down below. My first ever track, Wasting My Time. Listen to it because I said so. Because I said so. Just do it. Take a moment, like right now, and then come back. Because it's like 3 minutes. It's really not long. So yeah. I am going to talk to you about my worst ever flying experience. Like, this has to be the worst experience in my entire life of flying. And for people that know me, I have been flying by myself on aeroplanes since I was 5 because my dad lives in Houston. So on that note, I know exactly how long it should take me to get to Houston. Anybody that's flown to Texas, depending on what area, you know your time frame. So like given the day, if the weather or whatever the case may be, it really only takes 3.5, 4 hours. And then it's a time difference, an hour difference. So cool, whatever. When I booked my flight with American, it was for one flight. And then I realized that those dates didn't work, had to cancel that flight. And I had to rebook on the phone because I had to use the credit from canceling. Fine. Okay. The lady was like, the only thing I see is a flight with the connecting. And the connecting was in Dallas. I'm like, why do I need to do a connecting in Dallas if I'm going to Houston? That's stupid. But that's all they had available without me paying like an extra $300. And it was a ticket for me and Zaya, obviously. It was me, Zaya, and Ayana. Ayana doesn't count yet because she's not 2. Okay, cool. Do the flight. I'm already scared because I'm flying in the airport with 2 kids by myself. How well can that possibly go? So I do it, getting there on the first flight is fine. It was trouble trying to figure out how to push the stroller, have our carry-on bags, because I wasn't checking any bags because mama don't have the money for that right now. I wasn't checking a whole bunch of bags. Aya's suitcase is literally like a personal item size. She didn't really have to put it in the overhead. So that was fine, whatever. But put that inside the stroller so that the only thing I was pushing was the stroller and my actual carry-on bag. So that part was fine. Okay, cool. But then it's weather in Texas, but the weather wasn't terrible. It just was weather. They had to fly over Dallas for an hour. I can only be but so mad about that because if it was too cloudy to come down, fine. So it took a while for them to come down. They're like, yeah, it's 20 planes waiting in line to come down because of the weather. I'm like, 20 planes? Okay, whatever. So they're like, check your flights and make sure that your transfers are fine because we're delayed coming in. Your flight is definitely going to be delayed going out because they have to make sure that all the other planes can come in. Cool, makes sense. I check it and it says that it's 45 minutes, I think it said at first it was delayed. And I'm like, okay, cool, then we'll be good. We land, finally. And they're like, yep, check yourself. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to check it again. Because I'm like, wait, what gate is it? Just trying to make sure I'm in the know. It said the flight was canceled. It says, yes, your flight is canceled. Excuse me? I go to my email. It says, yes, your flight is canceled. And we rebooked you for a new flight for the next day at 4 p.m. That's it. That's all it said in the email. No other information. Then it says, well, you could choose your flight if you want. When I went on to it a different way. And it said, you could choose your flight. Look at your options. I click it and the options say, that's the only flight, the 4 o'clock flight the next day. I'm like, excuse me? It was only noon on that Friday. It was only noon. I'm like, excuse me? So I'm having a mini heart attack. We're still on the plane. Haven't even gotten to the gate yet. I'm about to overflow. Ayana sleeps, so she can't even tell what's going on. Is I just like, what's wrong, Mom? what's wrong? What's gonna happen? I'm like, I don't know, baby. I don't know. Everybody's like, oh, well, you know, because they could see life was different. They're like, oh, yeah, go to customer service. They'll be able to help you. I'm like, I hope so. And on the way out, I go to the stewardess, like, just in case before I walk somewhere for no reason, can they help me right outside the door, or do I have to go all the way to customer service? And they're like, yeah, you're going to have to go to the customer service desk. I'm like, okay. I go out to this customer service desk, and it's the entire length of the terminal. That's how long the line was. Piles and piles of people. I wanted to cry at that very moment. I'm just like, are you kidding me? This is a joke, right? So I'm like, you know what this moment needs? Starbucks. I need coffee. I need coffee. Go get in the line. I gotta pee. So I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, girl, had to get out of that line. Then I realized I can't stand in no customer service line because Zaya's not going to want to stand in that line. I don't have nowhere for her to sit. And then eventually, Ayana got restless from sitting in her seat in the stroller. So I'm like, okay, this is terrible. I'm on the phone with my dad, my stepmom, my mom, my grandma, my aunt, everybody under the sun, trying to figure out what my best plan of attack is. They're like, maybe you could get a hotel room, talk to them about getting a voucher. I got to stand in the customer service line to get the voucher. All right, well, maybe you could catch a train, you could do this, you could do that. I'm like, I would prefer to do the least movement with 2 kids and all of this stuff. Okay, well, maybe, you know, I see a guy in the terminal. I don't know if he even worked. Well, technically, he must have worked for American Airlines because it was American Airlines terminal. But I don't know what his job was. He just was lingering around with a uniform on. So I was like, well, in my situation, what's my best bet? And he took me over to the screen that has all the flights on it. He was like, well, maybe you could check out and see if any other flight that's supposed to be going where you're going can fit you onto the flight. I did that, went on the little train down to a whole different terminal. Of course, they did not have space for us on that daggone flight. So that sucked, but whatever. And then it was just like, okay, what's the next bet? So then I called customer service instead to see maybe I could get in there a little bit easier if I call customer service. I call them and it says your hold time is 4 hours. 4 hours. If you would like a call back, click this button and you won't lose your spot in line. Of course, I clicked the button because I wasn't about to sit on the phone for 4 hours. Guess what time they called me? I'm going to wait and tell you. I'm going to wait. Just think about it. I want your guesses. Comment your guesses down below. We're going to go with, did they actually call in 4 hours? Did they call in less hours? Or we're going to say a ballpark of like 6 or 7 hours. Who knows? I want your guesses. I want your guesses. So I get to a point where I'm like, okay, so what can I do? And my stepmom's like, worst case scenario, we will book you a whole new flight. Houston and Dallas are 4 hours apart. So that's 4 hours to get to us and then 4 hours to go back. I wasn't making them do that flight when the flight is really only 40 minutes long. It wasn't a long journey. I don't know why they put me on a connecting flight to Houston for no reason. It was stupid. So then, there's so many so thens, and I'm going to keep saying so then, because that's how bad it is. I finally get to the point where I'm like, okay, cool. Just look for us a flight. My stepmom finds us a flight on United Airlines instead. Now, I want to start off by saying that American Airlines, the side, in Dallas Airport at least, I'm not going to say American Airlines, you know, every terminal they have in every airport is trash. But this Dallas airport, it was ghetto. People were stepping on top of each other. That's how many people it was in that terminal. So many flights got delayed aggressively or canceled unexpectedly. It was so many people over there. She books us a flight, which I think would have been an hour from the time she told me. So we hurried up to the terminal because most people know they're going to board your flight within like 30 minutes of the actual like departure time. So we hurry up and go over there. It's all quiet. It's space to sit down. You got charger space available to charge your phone, your tablet, whatever you carrying with you. People is just calm and civilized. It's food places and they make sense. It's not crazy lines or anything. I'm like, it's a whole different experience in this terminal. Okay. But because the day had already been a terrible day, of course, that flight is definitely still delayed, just like all the other flights. And they took the time to actually say, hey, this flight is delayed and it could continue to get delayed because of weather. This is what all of the airlines said, American and United. Weather was the only reason for these flights being messed up, which in my opinion is a fib. It's a fib. We all know that y'all are hurting for people, more so American Airlines than United. But I commend United, at least the people, I don't want to say stewardess because they weren't stewardess, but the customer service people that were helping, they at least took the consideration to say, hey, we know that this flight is possibly going to get delayed more, but we will not be canceling it. Yes, it may leave super late, but it is not going to be canceled. That is a consideration I really appreciate, because having 2 kids in an airport by myself and then having 2 flights get canceled on me would have been detrimental to my mental health. Like, how was I going to live through that? And I only had so many diapers. I had like 2 diapers by the time I got to Houston. Sheesh. So I do that. We're sitting there. I had to go stand in the line to get checked in completely because I guess because we booked the flight so last minute, I had to get checked in at the gate. They had to check us in, put Ayana as a lap child. The guy was nice enough to check my bag because technically the ticket I had didn't allow me a carry-on. So he checked my one bag, well, like fake checked it where they just take it at the bottom. He did that. He tagged the stroller for whenever the time did come. And, that part was cool. And then, most of it was just a waiting game. So we waited for the flight, got on, all of that. Everything else for that went smoothly. It was completely fine. Finally get to the Houston airport, and it's a mess on the outside. My dad it took him 30 minutes to get to where we were in the airport. And at this time, it's 9 p.m. Now, listen, I got to Dallas at noon. I left the airport, met with my dad from the airport at 9 p.m. American Airlines called me back the moment my dad called me to say he was outside. It took them 9 hours to call me back. 9 hours. BS. I don't care how busy y'all are. BS. Finally get on the phone with the woman, and she's like, very apologetic. The woman was very nice. I'm not even going to try to drag her. It's American Airlines themselves that I hate right now. It is not any of the people that worked with them. They all were kind and civilized. American Airlines gave them wrong direction on how to handle all of this. She tells me, oh yeah, I can take you off of that other flight so you don't show as a no-show. But I'm seeing here that there was a flight leaving from Dallas at 8 p.m. Oh, was it? Oh, was it? Because the system told me the only flight that was available was the next day. She's like, I'm not sure why it would do that when it shows that you're traveling with 2 minors. Yeah, exactly. How much sense does that make? She's obviously very apologetic and everything. So that was helpful in that moment. But it was more so just like, is my stuff going to get situated or what? And they did tell me they're going to give me a refund for that second flight because I never was able to use it because I had to go book a whole different flight. So it's just like, this is atrocious. And it's like, don't book flights if you know you may not have the manpower to fill it. I'd rather American be skimmy on their flights and then say, oh, we got people now, and add flights at the last minute. It's like, why are you doing that to people? Now people are stranded in places they're not familiar with. And yes, I go to Texas a lot, but I'm the type of person that's like, I drive the same way to work every day. I go to the same Dunkin' or Starbucks because I know that they make my stuff right, type of thing. So I'm familiar with the Houston airport. I go to Bush and I don't remember. International Bush, whatever. It's 2 different ones, Hobby and Bush. People who know. I go to the Bush one. That one I'm familiar with enough that I can go in and out of there and not have any trouble, even with only going every year or every 2 years. I had never been to nobody's Dallas airport. That was so confusing, and it was so scary, honestly, because I thought I was going to be stranded in the airport with both my kids. And I just wish that they handled it better than they did. Since I couldn't be serviced by anybody, American didn't even have the chance to help me because they didn't have the people to help. And if they would have not booked as many flights as they did, they wouldn't have all these people to help service and probably give a whole bunch of free stuff to, because I know I'm not the only person that had to get a refund. I know it. So I hope you like this rant. I hope you like my hair. I just did it because I felt like it. I was sick of doing like my regular just buns and stuff like that. I did not record it because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I had it a couple different ways, and then I ended up doing it in these little ponytail things, and then put the little the little clippy bobbers that you put on when you do like bigger braids. So I was like, okay, I can bang with it. So yeah, if you would like to let me know about anything else you want to see me record, because I know I've been trying to get more frequent on here. I did do a hair video recently. I will tag that in here as well. My little ponytail with the braid that I've been doing more recently. If you want to know how I do that, because I'm an amateur at all of this. I just be figuring it out, and I be like, that kind of look cute. We gonna go with it. So if you one of those and you want to learn different styles to do those types of things, watch the video. And if you haven't already, listen to my song. I'm gonna play it right now, and you better listen to it.
If you're insecure, just say that. Ghost to me, I don't play that. So if I'm on the road, you miss the girl, you want me, don't hold back.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done being quiet now, because you're supposed to listen to it. And then you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna click it. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I'm really hyped. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.